Hey guys, back with the part two of Unit 11 for my 8th grade American History class. This is Coach Goodrich. If you have not watched the first video, part one, I would suggest going back and doing that, or else you might be a little bit confused. Make sure you got your notes out and ready so that you can fill those out as we're going. So where we left off, we talked about how the war for the United States got started, Pacific involvement, war in North Africa. Now we're going to continue on with the war in Europe and finally with the ending of the war. War in Europe. Hitler and the Nazi forces had successfully invaded all of mainland Europe and nearly destroyed Britain before American involvement. This would be the final push into Hitler's quote-unquote Fortress Europe, including the largest invasion force ever assembled, or at least the largest amphibious invasion force ever assembled. And thanks to the Soviet counteroffensive on the Eastern Front, Germany now fighting a two-front war, basic rule of war. Remember all the way back with World War I, the Schlieffen Plan that was developed by Germany to try and avoid fighting a two-front war. And Germans now are rapidly losing ground on both sides. Major battles of the European campaign. Like I said in the previous video, there's no way that we could talk about all of them. We'd be here for literally days, so I've focused on some of the ones a little bit later on in the war and directly involving the American forces to bring us up to the end of the fighting in Europe. The Battle of Monte Cassino, also known as the Battle of Rome, between January and May of 1944, Allied forces successfully captured the city of Rome in Italy, securing southern Europe. Operation Overlord, which is D-Day and beyond, June 1944 to September 1944, the largest amphibious invasion in history, somewhere up of 150, maybe 160,000 total soldiers invade Normandy in the north of France and begin to push towards Germany. Operation Market Garden, September of 1944, is an unsuccessful invasion into the Netherlands, trying to circumvent Germany, go around them, and attack them from a weaker part of the north. The Allies are going to be pushed back by German tank units. The Battle of the Bulge, December, should be 1944, not 1994, my bad. In January 1945, the Allied defense of northeast France and Belgium. This is the last major German offensive. And it's the second deadliest battle in American history. In about a month, 20,000 soldiers are going to be dead. But they managed to hold the line. It's called the Battle of the Bulge because where the fighting kind of bulges in a little bit in several key areas. But the Americans and Allied forces are able to hold the last gasp effort of the Germans, and then crossing over the Rhine River into Germany, March and April of 1945 through a series of battles. Allies cross into Germany via the Rhine and spread out into southern Germany, where they'd capture one of his many fortresses called the Eagle's Nest. So this is Monte Cassino, the Normandy invasion. What some of the beaches look like afterwards. You can see here, this is the Battle of the Bulge. You see the bulge in the line right here. Being held back, and not a whole lot of American forces in the way right here, but they're able to hold them. Some more from the Battle of the Bulge, and then crossing over the Rhine River into Germany. And this is a picture of the Eagle's Nest, which you can go visit today. There's Hitler sitting out here, one of his many lounging areas. They still got a pool in there with water in it. I thought this was a cool picture. The Manhattan Project. As World War II dragged the U.S. into combat, the Allies are searching for a way to end the war quickly and by force if necessary. Jewish scientists escaping the Holocaust in Germany bring word that the Nazis are attempting to develop atomic or nuclear weapons. This kind of helps to speed things up in that process. December 1941, the Manhattan Project commences in Los Alamos, New Mexico. The project was led by Robert Oppenheimer with the help of several hundred other American, Canadian, British, and German scientists, including Albert Einstein. A total of 3 bombs are going to be created, each capable of destroying an entire city. 13 kilotons of force. One of those bombs is going to be used for tests, and there are many other tests before that, before the finished product. 2 of them are actually going to be used. There you go. Little boy and fat man. There's Oppenheimer. Very famous picture of Einstein riding a bike while one of the tests is going off behind it. This is the view of what the mushroom cloud looked like afterwards. However, towards the end of the war, literally right at the very end of a lot of the fighting, shortly after FDR is elected to his fourth term consecutively, FDR dies in his house in Warm Springs, Georgia. Harry S. Truman, his vice president, becomes the president, and now Truman is faced with a huge decision. Should we use atomic or nuclear weapons to end the war as soon as possible? This is known as the Little White House, which was FDR's presidential retreat in Warm Springs, Georgia. The end of the war, April 28th, 1945. Mussolini is captured fleeing to Switzerland from Italy and is executed by firing squad. Italy is out. April 30th, 1945, with the Soviets fighting in the streets in Berlin, Hitler shoots himself in his bunker. Germany is out. And then August 15th, 1945, President Harry Truman ordered 2 atomic bombs to be dropped on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki within a couple days of each other, killing 200,000 total civilians. Japan formally surrenders despite some organized and individual resistance until 1974. But for the most part, the war is over. Aftermath of the war. American factories have to mobilize in order to meet the impressive demand for supplies and weapons. Hire 6 million women to work in factories. Now we see Rosie the Riveter. This follows a pattern from World War I. Help pave the way for ending minority discrimination, both in the workforce and in the military. The Tokyo and Nuremberg war trials are held, convicting several dozen military leaders in both countries of war crimes. 80% of Europe's Jewish population was wiped out due to the Holocaust. 6 million Jews, 11 million total. Britain and the rest of Europe seek to put themselves back together. Tokyo is put under General MacArthur's jurisdiction, kind of making him the de facto last emperor, while Berlin is split between the Soviets, British, French, and Americans. In total, 70 to 85 million people die as a result of World War II, 3% of the world's population. Aftermath. America reemerges as a top power of the world, but tensions quickly rise between them and the USSR. The spread of communism, led by the Soviet Union, throughout Eastern Europe, as well as the size and power of the Red Army, scared much of the free West. Many speculate that the only way to save the world would be for the U.S. to create more nuclear weapons and nuke major cities in the Soviet Union. General Patton wanted this, and many others did as well. With the controversial use of the first and only atomic nuclear weapons in history, many other nations, including the USSR, begin to construct their own nuclear weapons, and we call this nuclear escalation. A view of how Berlin is going to be split up. The red is under the control of the Soviet Union, known as the Steel Curtain. Blue is more democratic and supported by the U.S. This is going to lead us into the start of the Cold War. Mini quiz. Just like the other ones, guys, you can either print this page off, you can just answer the questions and send a picture, you can download the document that I have in the documents part of the RenWeb lesson plans. Write your answers down, send a picture through Remind, homework drop, or email. You can also take the online quiz version of this to the online test link in RenWeb through the family portal. The one online will be multiple choice. But I appreciate it, you guys. And I truly hope that we are able to get things kind of back to normal after this. Because I miss you and excited to get things started up again pretty soon. But appreciate you guys. You guys be safe, and we'll talk to you very soon.